Hi. So I'll just start with the overview of my idea. So currently, even though a user can add his personal favorites on a map, there's no way of him to, actually mark his personal favorites from the locations already contributed by others, like from all these markers. So I planned to add a feature that will enable the user to mark his personal favorites out of all the places on the map by, either long pressing or tapping on a marker of the places he likes, upon which the marker essentially would change. So I accomplished this, by researching a lot online. So I went, so one place I found the solution to this problem was by, going on the official GitHub page for OSM Droid library, which is already a part of the framework, and then analyzing the code of the library itself. So that took a lot of time, but eventually I found a file called marker.java. When I further analyzed the file, I found that I can use a set icon function, which was listed in this file, to change the markers themselves. So for example, I'll just give a demo for the function. So as you can see, here's my map. So as I click on an icon, which is, let's say, playing piano is my favorite on the campus, right? So I click on it, the marker itself changes. Take another example, the quad, great place to study. So again, the marker changes. Taking the bread company, which is a great place to eat. So again, that's my personal favorite out of all the places. And essentially, when I click on it, the marker changes. So effectively, so that's telling me that these places all throughout the campus are my personal favorites. So, but one problem which I didn't think of when I was, thinking about this idea was that if I, switch between pages on the app, let's say I want to add a place over here, or let's say I essentially, toggle between apps, or I just close the app completely and then reopen it, the markers would revert to their original, all the markers would revert to their original style. So, and that would cause, loss of data for the user. So I researched about that online as well, I researched a lot of methods, to store the list of markers with their corresponding IDs in a, Android device's internal storage itself. And I got to know about a couple of different methods like SQLite, TinyDB, or essentially storing the data in the external storage of the device as well. But I found that the best way was using shared preferences, which I found on this page, which can essentially store and retrieve small amounts of data for primitive data types, as key and value pairs to a file on the device storage itself. And data types include strings, integers, float, boolean that make up the preferences in the XML file we're dealing with, right? And so shared preferences was best suited for the task I wanted to perform in this case. So using the IDs of the markers as the key, and then storing the state of the marker as a Boolean value for the corresponding key of a specific marker, I was able to form a keychain pair essentially. And so whenever a user, let's say, clicks on a marker, right, its value changes to true, and these key value pairs then get stored in the shared preferences in the internal storage. So whenever a user, reopens his app next time, so let's say let's reopen our app now, right? So let's close it, let's reopen it. The changed markers get retained, so they don't revert back. So this is something, which kind of posed a huge challenge for me, how to do that. Should I create a list and then store it somewhere in the server? Should I mess with the server or, do something else? So the simplest and the best way I found was using shared preferences. Moving forward, I did wanted to include in this MP only, is that I wanted to create a filter. Like, for example, there would be a button here which can click, and then only the markers which show your personal favorites get displayed and all the other markers vanish. But due to paucity of time, I wasn't able to cover that. But yeah, that's something I am really interested on working on, in the future. But yeah, that's it. I hope you like my addition to the app. And yeah, it was a pleasure working on this. Thank you. Oh yeah, another thing I forgot to do is so just to show that I've committed and pushed my MP3 to GitHub 49 minutes ago.